Assalamualaikum, hallo en hartlike welkom by Proe. Ek is Abidah Dixon, Mohamed en vandag kuier ek in die kombuis saam met Taarig McKrea.
Hallo julle, wie ek kom weer lag in, want vandag vergeet ek gemaak glad om die sound se plak in te plak. Maar in elk geval, kyk hier, julle het ons nog gesien, ek het ons nog gesels met die man met die naam van Baki, né? Wat ons nou lekker uit pasta gemaak het. Maar toe maak hy mos nou lekker mistake om te sê, sy seun kan ook mos nou lekker bak. Toe kom die seun ook net in by die deur. Toe sê ek, nee wat, nou doen ons sommer sou saam met die seun. Salam alaikum, Taarig. Kyk hier, nou sê gou vir my, was dit 'n regte ding om sommer vir jou te vat en te sê, you gonna do the show?
No. Yes, no.
Okay.
Of course, I'm always obliged to do these kinds of things. I love cooking, and if it means I could share it with the rest of the world, then I would love that.
O, Here, nou gaan ek vir julle moet sê, né? Julle weet ek is Afrikaans. En julle weet mos my Engels raak gou op. Maar het julle nou gehoor sy Engels? So nou gaan ek moet versigtig wees en nou moet kan hoor presies wat die Engels hier. O, jette. Maar in elk geval, Taarig, vertel gou vir my, wat maak jy vandag vir my in die kombuis?
Okay, today we're going to be making a lemon meringue pie. But before we start the pie, we have to preheat the oven to 190 degrees Celsius. Then, now we're going to start with the crust. So what we're going to use is 14 biscuits, and we're going to crush it to the point where it's powder.
Okay, en sê vir ons kykers wat se biscuits is hierdie?
It's
Die tennis biscuits.
yes,
Nee?
yes. So it doesn't have to be powder form, but it needs to be as soft as it can possibly be. It doesn't necessarily need to be fine, but as long as it's soft, because it needs to mix with the butter.
Ja. Maar nou kyk gou hier, party mense gebruik die botter nie. En dan is dit so krummelrig, so droog. Nou,
So the trick is to melt enough butter to fill 1/4 of a cup. So you're going to start off with 1/4 of a cup of melted butter.
Okay.
Then if it's too dry, you just add a little bit of melted butter each time till it's the right consistency. Not too dry, not too wet.
okay. Nou sien, daar leer ek nou iets, want gewoonlik as ek my botter smelt met my biscuits, dan weet ek net presies ek wil so 'n stuk botter en ek smelt hom en ek gooi hom in en ek meng hom in die biscuit. Ag jy nou weer 'n ander trick om te sê hoe en wat jy moet maak.
It's
Nog 'n bietjie of as hy?
perfect. That's brilliant.
Perfect.
It's perfect.
Alright. So daar as hy nou vir jou daar gereed. So nou Taarig, as ek nog gou mag vra. Sy's nog so jong. So wat doen jy in jou daaglikse lewe?
Well, I'm actually, if you don't believe me, I'm studying teaching. I'm actually studying to be a teacher because it's always been my passion to be a teacher. I'm studying intermediate phase teaching, which is grade 4 to 7.
Okay. En as jy nou al besig om te teach?
Yes, I'm teaching and studying. At the moment I'm currently teaching and studying.
Okay, maar nou gaan ek jou nou 'n vraag vra wat 'n bietjie baie snaaks miskien gaan klink, maar as jy nie bang vir die kinders deesdae op skool nie?
In the beginning, it's not just me, it's everybody. In the beginning, everyone is afraid. Children can be very intimidating,
Yes.
but over time you obtain the skills, the necessary skills to maintain the classroom. And the more time you spend with the child, the more you get to know how to control them, put them, help them to behave, everything. So in the beginning, yes, it's very tough because children can be very intimidating.
Nou, as die ander ene klaar gesmelt hier?
Yes, we can just add this in so long and
Alles?
Yes, everything, and mix it with your hands.
Okay, nee, ek gaan hy maar vir jou los.
Okay.
Ek gaan hy vir jou los want dit is jou dingetjie sodat mense presies kan sien hoe jy dit maak.
Yes.
Ek sal vir jou help hier en daar en ek sal vir jou aangee as ek moet, maar as dit nou kom by jou ding om se self, dan wil ek my jy moet dit self doen. There you go.
So the trick is to not mix it with a spoon, to mix with your fingers so you can feel if it's too wet or if it's too dry. Because if you do it with a spoon, you could be making it way too wet or way too dry. When you need it in between, you need the right consistency. So right now you can feel this is too dry, it needs a little bit more butter. Therefore, that's why I melted more butter in the
Okay, so dat
microwave.
ek kan weet.
Yes,
Nou weet nou vir jou so mooi al hierdie tips geleer, mommy of daddy?
I learned it myself.
Yourself.
So I studied consumer studies in high school. And basically the teacher would tell us, bake something or cook something for dinner.
Yeah.
I'm not going to help you. I'll give you the ingredients. You do everything yourself. Now you can feel this is just a little bit too dry, so therefore we need to take out a little bit more melted butter.
Okay.
Add a tiny bit, not too much, a tiny bit. There we go. And you mix it through.
Okay, maar nou wil ek gou weet, gaan dit dan nou 'n verskil maak as hy te droog is of as hy te nat is?
Yes, it won't. The crust won't be right. It will break. If it's too wet, it will be too soft. If it's and too buttery, you'll just taste butter. If it's too dry, it will break easily, and the whole pie will just collapse.
Ooh, okay.
Yes.
Alright. Maar nou, as ek dit so doen, dan sit ek hom maar in die yskas, sodat die yskas hom ons nou kan lekker styf maak.
Yes, but I do a different method. I bake it in the oven for 5 minutes, the crust. I first flatten in the tray,
Yes.
and I bake it for 5 minutes.
Goed.
So the butter and the biscuit crumbs can melt together and combine and cook together.
En dan sy amper nou soos 'n kos.
Yes.
Okay. Nou sien julle daar, ons is besig hier. Daar het iemand nou begin ryk, hier word iets gedoen. As hulle sommer by die deur. Bly ingeskakel, ons is nou weer terug. Nou ja, ek het laat die persoon inkom wat nou by die deur was en daar is die persoon agter die skerms, né? Ek kan julle dit sê. Maar nou Taarik, die biscuits het ek nou klaar gekras. Daatjie het nou mooi gemaak. Sy het iets gesê van die eiers.
Yes.
Sy gaan vir ons 'n triek wys hoe om jou eiers te skei.
Yes.
Nie soos ek dit gewoonlik doen nie, maar soos jy dit gaan doen. Wys gou vir my.
I'll show you examples. So first, you're going to, in another bowl, you're going to put a can of condensed milk.
Goed.
Then you're going to take a bowl that is very narrow on the inside, deep,
Yeah.
so the egg yolk doesn't spill out.
Okay.
So what you're going to do is you're going to crack the egg. You're going to open the top. And you're going to put your fingers like that in the egg. And you're going to, little by little, open your fingers until all the egg whites strain out. And then you'll turn it over to your other hand. And then do that. And then you pour your egg yolk into the condensed milk.
Okay, maar nou wat is nou as ek nou die ene is van hou van daai You know what I'm saying?
Yes, no, I understand what
Ek
you're
hou
saying.
van daai nie, so die triek wat ek doen om die eier geel op te tel met die bottel, hy gaan werk.
Yes.
Is okay. Alright.
This
Okay.
is just a technique for those who don't have a bottle at home. So when I did consumers in high school, we weren't allowed to
Dis
use
consumers.
cooking. Basically, it's cooking. Another word for cooking. So when I did
Okay.
consumers, we weren't allowed to use bottles. We were supposed to just use
Yes.
our fingers, use the necessary spoon, and we weren't even allowed to use a mixing machine. We had to mix it
Alles met jou
ourselves.
hande en so
Yes.
aan. Okay. Alright, so ek gaan nou vir jou self daai eiers laat skei want ek
Yes.
gaan nou nie ek wil nou nie jou goedjies opmors nie.
Yes.
So jy kan myself met die eiers maar skei en so aan.
Okay. And
But
then what you can do for me
Yes.
is the lemons.
Die lemons.
The lemons. So what you do is you cut a lemon in
Yeah.
half first. So you cut it in half.
Ja.
I want to show you a trick.
En nog 'n triek.
A trick that I learned from my consumer seed. So a lot of people, they would squeeze, but they would struggle to get all the juice out. And the thing we need to get is a half a cup of lemon juice. So we're going to take our measuring cup,
Ja.
1/2, and we're going to start by just squeezing it gently. Gently squeezing it. Squeeze it to the point where you think that there's nothing left, right? So you think, okay, there's nothing left.
Yes.
A trick I learned is you take a big spoon and you do this. With a spoon and you're scooping
So
out
daar's
the-
nog sap in.
Yes. And you save lemons, you don't waste lemons.
Wow.
Because a lot of people, they'll squeeze and be like, oh, it's done, and they throw it away.
Throw away.
Yes,
Right.
and we don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we squeeze it, and we're squeezing it and we're scooping it with a spoon at the
Sien.
same time.
Wow.
And we're getting the nice lemon out.
Sommer daai lekker geur en alles.
Exactly, and that's what we want to do. So now we know that this lemon is done. So
Yeah.
then we will take the next lemon and we would squeeze as much as we can until that point where we think, oh, there's nothing left, and then we will use.
So basies 'n hele suurlemoen is 'n halwe koppie.
Yes. Precisely. And you'll just scoop it, scrape it, squeeze, scrape, squeeze, squeeze, and scrape.
Maar nou sien, daar's nou 'n verskil tussen my en hom. Hy het nou allerlei krag om te squeeze. Maar ek gaan nog nooit so klompie kan uitkry as ek moet squeeze, want ek het nie altyd krag nie. Definitief nie. Maar nou Taarik, kyk jy, sy praat nou so mooi Engels man. Vertel gou vir my nou. Was sy by 'n spesifieke Engelse skool?
No, I was at a normal mainstream school. So I went to a school in Pinelands.
Okay.
Pinelands, Cape Town, and it was just an English school. But we had Afrikaans, because Afrikaans is a compulsory language to learn. But our home language, what we were taught, is English.
Goed.
And our first additional language was Afrikaans. So I can speak Afrikaans, I can understand it,
Yes.
but my home language is English.
Dis Engels. Okay. Nee, want ek moet maar vra, want ek hoor jou ras en jou aars en you know is alles so so dis hoekom ek maar nou moet vra.
So when this is done, you want to just check for any seeds.
Yeah.
Then when you just scrape it out, you put it aside, and this is kind of what you want. You don't want just the juice, you want the chunks of the lemon inside, because it gives it an extra
En
flavor.
daarom is die ding se naam ons lemon meringue.
Exactly. A lot of people, they go to the shops and they buy lemon juice.
Oh,
I prefer freshly
first.
squeezed from the lemon. So then you throw it in,
Yes.
you'll finish with your eggs.
Yes. Kyk hierdie, hulle moet my man op verskoon as ek 'n bietjie stil staan, maar die is nou triks wat ek nou nie wil opmors nie, so ek gaan laat hy dit myself doen, hoor. Want as ek nou moet daai triks doen, dan gaan hy geel sommer in hy wit.
And you throw it over to your next hand, and you throw it
Okay.
into there.
So daai is 2.
So basically, back in high school, for our final exam, for consumer studying or cooking basically, we weren't allowed to use machines, we weren't allowed to use strainers or any of that stuff. We had to just use our hands
Yeah.
and the basic utensils.
Okay. Maar nou vandag, julle jong span ken mos nou al die nuwe goeters en daai. Gaan jy vir die goed of is jy nog altyd te doen met jou hande?
I always use with my hands. It's the only thing I ever use for the machine is for the last part of the lemon meringue and for this. But if I could, you can
Yes,
do
yes.
everything with just the utensil. You don't need a machine.
Yes.
But it just makes things easier
Easier and
and it does it quicker.
Okay.
Because a lot of people, they struggle.
Yes.
For example, their arm will get sore because for the last part, your arm gets sore. Now, you don't want that.
Ja, maar dan maak jy mos mussels.
But not everyone has muscles like me, man. Not everyone has muscles like me.
Ek meen maar, mens maak mos daai. Okay, so daai is die laaste uit.
This is the last egg.
Yes. Okay.
So, we're going to strain it.
Maar net gou voor ons gou gaan vir 'n breek. Is daai nie 'n bietjie gevaarlik, want wat gebeur nou as daai eier dalk miskien met vrot is?
So what you do is, if the egg breaks or if it's rotten
Yes.
or anything, you use a spoon and you basically scoop it out.
Yeah.
Or you can use a strainer if you want to.
Ja, maar hy wit is al klaar daar. Die geel is in jou hand, maar die wit is daar. Hy's al reeds nou tussen die ander. So now what? Can you go continue?
Technically, you can't continue. You'll have to start all over again. You'd have to start all over again.
Nou imagine, sy het alles gedoen en hier kom sy by die laaste een en die laaste een is vrot en hy het mos sommer alles op hy fooi tog.
And no, actually, if I can actually, there was a situation in high school for one of my cakes, and
Okay.
that happened. We
Okay.
actually made that mistake.
Alright. Nou terwyl hy gou nou dink wat hy my verder gaan vertel, bly julle gou ingeskakel. Ons is nou weer terug. Jong, ek kan vir julle sê Taarik het so klompie triks hier vandag hier in die kombuis dat ek hom maar nie nog wil help nie, want ek gaan net sy triks opmors man. So ek sal maar nou net vandag 'n bietjie staan en mooi lyk en vir hom kyk. Nou Taarik, wat gaan jy nou doen?
Now we're going to mix the filling quickly, because we need the filling nice and thick and creamy. So we're going to start on a low heat and mix it.
Ja.
Once we see it's more combined, we'll go a little bit more higher and mix it, and then go back down to lower.
Yeah.
And just basically while you're mixing, you're stirring the bowl. Stirring the bowl.
Al in die rond.
Yes, stirring everything. Everything. So as this thing is stirring, you're stirring, you're taking the bowl around. Mix,
Is dit nou om dit even te kry?
Yes. Now that you see that it's done,
Yes.
what you're going to do is you're going to remove this. Just clean it off.
Okay. Maar die rede is hoekom ek nou eerder sê ek gaan hom help en al sy tricks hier nie, want kyk ek doen dinge differently en hy doen dit soos daai, so ek wil hê hy moet vir julle presies wys hoe hy dit doen. Okay.
So now for the last part of the pie,
Yeah.
is all you're going to do is just use your egg yolk, take a little bit of sugar, 1/4 of sugar,
One what? Okay. Okay.
of sugar, and add it.
Ja.
And this is called cream of tartar. This is 1/8.
Cream of tartar.
And surprisingly in high school they used to call me tartar. And now,
Hoeveel is daai omtrent? Want hy
1/8.
baie.
1/8. And now you're going to mix it slowly first so everything is combined. And now this you have to do fast. You have to stir the ball fast. Now you go on a high heat. Because the trick is it needs to be foamy. As foamy as possible.
En dan gaan net met hom omdraai, maar nie uitval nie.
Yes.
Ai. Okay, net Taarig, jy zijn nou ook soos ek sal sê 'n teacher.
Yes.
Maar as hulle nou begin, waar sien jy jouself in 'n jaar?
Possibly finishing my degree overseas.
Overseas. Okay. Maar nou, onthou nou net nie.
Yeah.
Hier in Suid-Afrika mag dinge miskien nie goed gaan nie, maar overseas is dinge ook nie altyd goed nie.
Yeah. Overseas, listen, it depends on the country you go to. For example, if you go to China, they're very strict on discipline. But if you go in UK, their children are naughty, but they still understand when to behave. But they can be very problematic. Because some people have came back from the UK and stated that their children is actually worse than South Africans. They won't necessarily swear and like get violent, but they will torment the teacher. But when you're doing teaching, you learn techniques on how to cope and how to deal with those children. So now you can see it's getting more creamy. Now you're going to turn on the highest heat and do this. Stir, 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 stir. Now it's basically done.
Maar hy's nog 'n bietjie loperig.
Yes.
Okay?
We don't want it too foamy.
Okay.
Yes.
Alright.
So now we take the crust out of the oven.
Okay. Oh, careful. Oppas jou hande, moenie brand nie.
No, of course not.
Okay, waar na toe? Op die plankie? Daar sy.
Out of the
Ai,
oven.
kyk hoe oulik lyk hy. Sien julle nou hier se verskil? Gewoonweg sal ek daai in die yskas sit om dit net lekker styf te maak nie en bymekaar te hou. Hy sit dit in die oond om dit 'n lekker kraskorsie ding te gee.
And what you do now is you turn your oven down to 160 degrees Celsius.
Ja,
And now you're going to pour in your filling. Not too
op die
much.
warme ding, nie?
Yes, not too much, little by little, because you don't want too much filling. You can always save it. You can always freeze it or keep it in the freezer for next time you bake. So you add a little at a time. You spread it around.
Ja.
Add the next bit.
En dit is nou net die kondensmelk en die eier en die
Yes,
lemon juice.
and the lemon juice.
Amazing. Okay. Nou gaan ek vir my gou espresso, dan gaan ek nog 'n bietjie proe. Wow. Sjoe. Auntie Elsie. Die lemon.
Now for the last bit is you add your meringue.
Nou kan ek eintlik verstaan wat hy bedoel as hy praat van die klompie lemon wat hy moet uitsqueeze in te kry. En daai is nou net die wit.
Yes.
En dan gaan hy weer oontoe.
Now I personally don't like my lemon meringue fluffy. I like it lower because there's the last thing, I like to grate lemon skins on it. It gives an extra flavor.
Okay,
And if it's too fluffy, you won't see the lemon skins.
Nou gaan hy ook so maak.
Yes. So now you just flatten it out.
Maar dan is dit nou amper soos 'n leie in geel en wit.
No, that's perfectly fine. That's perfectly fine. Now you just do this.
Okay.
You take a lemon,
Yes.
you take a grater, and you just grate.
Nice.
And you come up with a spoon. You come up like that. In the oven it will cook up.
Yes, okay.
It will cook up.
Wat die pinkies wat jy nou maak.
Yes. It will cook up.
Wow.
Yes. Now we pop it into the oven.
Dan gaan jy weer oond.
Yes.
En ek
Now
wil
we're
oopmaak.
baking it for 20 minutes.
Oei. En as hy nou klaar is na 20 minute, waarmee bedien jy dit? But what are you serving it?
Oh, I always love, my family always loves it when I make lemon meringue pie.
Yeah.
I never make lemon meringue for friends, only for special functions and for family. Always for family.
En vir special mense.
No, maybe sometimes.
Okay, ons het omtrent nog so 1 minuut gegaan. Ek is te doen met jou Engelsman. Is daar 'n verskil tussen ons Suid-Afrikaanse Engels en Amerika of Chinese of wie ook al se Engels? Is daar 'n verskil gou-gou?
Yes, there is. So if you look at how we spell color, for example,
Yes.
we spell color in South Africa C-O-L-O-U-R.
Yes.
We follow the British, the UK's English.
Ek weet net my Engels raak gou op. Bly julle ingeskakel. Wanneer ons terugkom, gaan ons sommer daai lemon meringue lekker proe. Julle wil nie weer weet wat se malgheid is weer vandag agter die skerms nie. Maar die Elsie is altyd maar die voorbok. Maar in elk geval, laat ek gou vir julle wys. Kyk hoe lyk Taarig se lemon meringue. Amazing. Ek is so beïndruk met al die puntjies wat daar uit staan. Maar kyk hier, laat ek gou vir julle baie mooi sê. Girls, ek verkoop vir hom sommer nou, want hy kan bak en hy kan kos maak en hy het nie 'n meisie nie. So onthou dit net. Taarig, is that right?
Yes.
Okay. Julle het net gehoor uit die perse bek uit. So ja. Taarig, gee vir my 'n stukkie maar laat ek gou proe en laat ek vir die girls sê of dit nou regtig lekker proe of nie. Kyk net hoe oulik lyk dit. Oh my goodness. And this is now from all that tapping from the spoon.
Yes.
Wow. Sure. Laat ek gou vir julle sê as julle nou nie geweet het dit kan so gebeur nie, hè? Daar kan julle nou sien, ja, dit gebeur as hy nou die lepel vat en bo-op, jy tap hom net so lekker, soos daai, byvoorbeeld, en dan kom hy uit. En dit is nou hoekom jy dit nou eintlik gebak het. Kyk nou die verskil van die bak en gewoonlik waar ons dit in die yskas sit. Taarig, jy gaan nie vir my alleen laat proe nie, kom. Vat jou stukkie en proe my kind, proe. Daar sê die ding se naam is Proe. Hey. Auntie Elsie, ek is mos hier soet, auntie, maar mense, ek sal mos hierdie hele ding mos alleen opeet, man. Oh my word. Taarig, can I come again?
Of course you can.
Okay. Ek het 'n uitnodiging gekry. Laat ek gou vir julle sê, ah. I must say, I am very impressed with your crust that you put in the oven.
Sure.
Very, very impressed. Normally sit ek myne in die yskas, maar van nou af gaan ek myne ook in die oond sit. Daai is nou weer 'n tip wat ek nog nie geweet het 'n mens kan doen nie, want ons is mos lui partykeer en ons doen alles mos net in die yskas. Maar nou kan ek sien hoekom hy dit in die oond sit en nie in die yskas nie. Nou Taarig, ek sê elke week ons hier op die program het nou nie baie nie, né? Maar ons wil net vir jou sê, baie sukran vir wat jy nou vir my so lekker die lemon meringue gedoen het en vir wat ons in julle huis kon gewees het.
Baie dankie.
Baie dankie. Nou, baie dankie. Vertel gou ons tykens, wat staan op die lepel?
Proe met Abidah.
En wat doen jy nou? Jy doen mos nou.
Proe.
Dan, met
Ek
Abidah.
proe nie.
Okay. Fooi tog man, hy vir die eerste keer kyk hy nou eintlik regtig in die kamera en daarom is hy nou 'n bietjie skaam. Ek gaan hom so los. Ek gaan hom los. Ek gaan weer terugkom. Dan sal hy nou weer heel wat beter is. Maar nee, wat ek kan sê, die klong, hy ken sy storie. Maar die ekka, sien julle hier die hele ding? Ek gaan nou nog verder. Lekker Proe.
En ek hoop jy het die dag lekker geniet saam met my en Taarig McKrea. Tot volgende keer, mooi bly. Ek is Abidah Dixon Mohamed en volgende week gaan kuier ek vir 'n nog 'n man in die kombuis met die naam van Dstv.